What if I told you that some of the greatest players in MLB history never truly arrived? That the legends we were promised barely had a chance to begin their stories? In baseball, potential is a promise, but reality? It's ruthless. Today on Baseball Spark, we're cracking open the vault of forgotten futures, diving deep into the stories of players who were supposed to be Hall of Famers until fate rewrote the script. These are the cautionary tales. The can't-miss prospects who somehow missed, the phenoms whose bodies betrayed them, and the stars whose lights dimmed before they ever hit full shine. Because in baseball, potential is currency. Scouts trade on it. Fans dream on it. GMs bet careers on it. But when that promise is broken, it stings. Not just for the teams, but for all of us, watching, hoping. We're talking torn rotator cuffs, concussions, mental pressure, media hype, and that silent killer, bad timing. You'll hear names you remember, and some you forgot, and by the end, you might just wonder, how many legends did we almost have? So strap in. This isn't just about baseball. It's about potential lost and the haunting power of what if. Because sometimes, the saddest stories are the ones that never got to be written. Close your eyes for a second and picture it. A teenage prodigy, scouts with clipboards, coaches whispering, "This kid's next." He's drafted, first round, top 5, the franchise's future on his shoulders. He's on the cover of Baseball America, the next Pedro, the lefty Jeter. We call it potential, but really it's a dream on layaway. Something we expect to pay off. Only, sometimes it doesn't. The game doesn't pause. One day, you're the face of the future. The next, a trivia question. But in those brief flashes, we saw the greatness. And that's what sticks. And that's why it hurts so much. Because we believed. In today's game, hype isn't just about word of mouth anymore. It's a machine. From highlight reels on TikTok to top 100 prospect lists, from MLB The Show cover votes to preseason fantasy rankings, we're constantly forecasting who the next star will be. But here's the truth. The brighter the spotlight, the hotter the pressure. Expectations become suffocating. One bad season, you're trending. One injury, you're forgotten. Hype creates heroes, but it also builds impossible pedestals. And when a player slips, fans turn cold fast. Mark Prior. Perhaps no player defines what if quite like Mark Prior. Drafted with fanfare, blessed with a perfect delivery and devastating arsenal, he looked like the ace every team dreams of. In 2003, he posted a 2.43 ERA with 245 strikeouts. At just 22. But overuse, mechanical strain, and bad luck combined into a career cut tragically short. His arm gave out before his legacy could cement. Fans still debate, could he have been the best of his generation? Let's be honest, we don't just watch prospects, we invest in them. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. Kerry Wood. Electrifying stuff. In 1998, he struck out 20 batters in a game as a rookie. He was dubbed the next Nolan Ryan. But elbow and shoulder injuries limited his career. What could have been a Hall of Fame journey ended as a cautionary tale of overuse and medical limits in an era of fragile arms. Grady Sizemore, the face of Cleveland's rebuild. A dazzling mix of speed, defense, and surprising pop. By 25, he was a 3-time All-Star and the next big thing. But his knees gave out. Surgeries stacked. He fought back multiple times, but his prime had vanished. His fall was one of baseball's most painful. Rick Ankiel. He was the Cardinals' ace at 20. A lefty with filthy stuff. Then the playoffs came, and suddenly he couldn't throw strikes. The yips ended his pitching career. Remarkably, he reinvented himself as an outfielder and returned to the majors. But we always wonder, what if the mound never broke him? Brandon Webb, 2006 NL Cy Young winner. A master of the sinker ball, Webb was nearly unhittable. But a shoulder injury after just one opening day start in 2009 shut the door. He never pitched again. In 3 short years, he went from dominant to done. A stark reminder of how fleeting dominance can be. Rocco Baldelli, He was Tampa Bay's golden child. Speed, contact, defense, a center fielder who reminded scouts of Joe DiMaggio. But a rare mitochondrial condition left him constantly fatigued. He never got to show the baseball world what his body was capable of because it betrayed him at every turn. Jay Bruce. The hype was real. A walk-off in his first week. 3 30-home run seasons before turning 26. But he plateaued. The bat never made another leap. He became a solid veteran, not the franchise player many envisioned. Solid? Yes. Spectacular? Not quite. Matt Wieters, Baltimore's next superstar. A switch-hitting catcher who could hit 300 and gun down runners. He was hyped as Joe Mauer with power. And while he made 4 All-Star teams, his bat never lived up to the billing. He was good, but the expectation was generational. That's a heavy weight to carry. Jurickson Profar, the #1 prospect in baseball. He was supposed to be a switch-hitting shortstop superstar, but injuries derailed his early development. By the time he returned, the timing and trajectory had shifted. He became a utility player. Versatile, but never the star scouts envisioned. Jesus Montero. Yankee fans thought he was the next big bat. Elite hitting in the minors. But when he came to the bigs, the bat looked slower and conditioning issues mounted. He bounced around, but never delivered. A trade to Seattle sealed his fate into obscurity. Baseball fandom isn't just personal. It's tribal. We remember these stories together. We shared rumors on message boards, debated their futures in barbershops and dugouts. Every city had a chosen one. And when they didn't make it, it felt like our dreams fell with them. Every fan has a favorite what if. A player we swore would be great. We wore their jerseys, drafted them in fantasy, defended them in forums. We saw it. We felt it. And when they didn't become the superstar we envisioned, it felt personal. Like the game let us down. Or worse, like we were wrong. But those memories, they still matter. Because being a fan isn't always about being right. It's about believing in the story, even when the ending never comes. And sometimes it's not about how the story ends. It's about the thrill of what we thought it could be. That's why we still talk about them. That's why we still care. So what do we take away from all these what-ifs? That baseball doesn't follow a script. It doesn't reward just talent. It rewards timing, resilience, and luck. Wood, Sizemore, Ankiel, Profar, they gave us moments. Some brief, some legendary, and those moments matter. It reminds us to value players while they're here. Because hype fades. But memories? The flashes of brilliance, the clutch homers, the filthy strikeouts, those stay. Potential is a candle, and baseball, it's full of wind. So don't wait to appreciate a player after they're gone. Celebrate them in real time. Because in the end, baseball isn't just a stat line or a WAR total. It's a collection of moments, of dreams, of almosts and what-ifs. So let's remember the players who almost made it, who did everything right, or maybe just ran out of time. Because even in failure, there's something beautifully human. The spark might not have lasted, but for one inning, one swing, one pitch, it was there. It lit up the diamond, even if only briefly. And maybe, just maybe, that flicker is enough to keep the story alive. And that is worth remembering. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with another baseball enthusiast, smash that like button, and leave us a comment of who your favorite can't-miss star was. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Baseball Spark. We'll see you in the next inning.